Good evening, everyone. Our guest person is Dr. Amol Wagholikar. He's a PhD from Australia. He's a principal projector, program director, Sports and Wellness Institute for Australia, India Management, Brisbane, Australia. Director, Rise 01 Private Limited, Brisbane, Australia. Dr. Amol is an accomplished technologist, researcher, scientist, and academic person. He has expertise in IT, technology enabled research and development in the area of health services and education. Dr. Amol Wagholikar has accomplished his PhD in computer science and masters in IT from Rift University in Australia. He is collaborating with Institute for Australia-India Engagement for various initiatives. Now I would request Dr. Amol Wagholikar to deliver his lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Sheila John, and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Shankara Netralaya, Teleophthalmology Department, Dr. Sheila John, and team for giving me this opportunity to share some of the thoughts and the initiatives that I'm currently working on as a part of my research and curiosity. And yes, and thanks to you as well for coming here because I can see there are a lot of bright future young minds. So I'm actually kind of quite honored to have all the medical doctors and fellows attending this talk. So thank you very much for your time and for your attention. So the topic of my talk is it's called Rise and Smile, which is ancient Indian practice inspired lifestyle intervention in today's modern technology. And I'm going to just simply share some of the thoughts and the ideas of this initiative, which is at an ideation stage, and some of the initial sort of findings and realization. So as we know that, so I guess last 2 years, we have seen a major sort of major crisis all around the world, especially in the name of pandemic or COVID-19, and those 2 years has given us. I mean, we have experienced a time of restrictions, which we never thought that we could go out and or we could not go out to a friend's place to have a chat, or we could not go out to restaurants to have our meal. So we have all experienced that time of restrictions in the form of lockdowns, in the form of various sort of changes that we need to adopt. And as a result of that, our healthcare system has also been burdened heavily. Those who have fortunate enough to manage it on their own, they could survive, but there are also a lot of unfortunate situations as well where we lost a lot of lives. And so it's this, we can sort of forget and move on, but it's also an opportunity for us to reflect upon how we can prepare ourselves better, and also opportunities for reducing burden on our healthcare system. So, and it hasn't just affected us in here in India, in Tamil Nadu, or any specific country, but it has affected the entire global human population. So it has shown us the limitations of our healthcare systems, and also provided us an opportunity to think of any ways or to reduce any burden and make any improvements at the system level. So I guess there is a shift of perspective needed, and behavior change is needed, because traditionally we work in a very reactive healthcare system. So there is a problem, we go, we fix it, and that has been the case in the recent times, that we are developed a reactive healthcare system, which is based on there is a health condition that we develop because of number of factors, and we treat that healthcare condition. So perhaps there's a need for shifting that perspective and paradigm shift uh, from a reactive to proactive healthcare system where prevention is given a priority, and the principle of prevention is better than cure is really seriously implemented in different areas of our life. And but of course it's very easy to say all these things, right? And prevention is better than cure is probably is kind of a cliche, and it's been, that phrase is around for a number of years, so there's nothing new in that. But the main thing is also challenging as well, that how we can actually implement it successfully. So another term that's been doing rounds these days is the self care, and how we can look after ourselves a bit better, and whether that becomes a part of our prevention regime. And there are different definitions of self-care. I mean, in simple terms, it's just looking after ourselves and be independent in looking after ourselves in all dimensions of our existence: physical, psychological, biological, emotional, financial. And I guess in health context, World Health Organization defines self-care as the ability of individuals, families, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, and maintain health, to cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a healthcare provider. And mostly it's the ideal stage is without the support of a healthcare provider. And it's not just a one single individual initiative, but it's more of a collective and holistic initiative that we need to undertake in the form of a self-care. So and if we can achieve that, the more self-care and the more we can do that, the less will be the burden on the healthcare system. And there are, of course, different areas of our life where self-care can be effective and can be undertaken if we have right motivation for it. And one of the such area that I looked into as a part of his initiative is regular physical activity, uh, good nutrition, good sleep, and social connections, etc. And mainly the two primary areas that we focus is the regular physical activity and good sleep. But there are, of course, many challenges in implementing any interventions, and because we are living in a rapidly changing world, rapidly more fast world, there is a you know uh, I guess the things are moving probably sometimes faster than the speed of light because of our consumption of content or use of technology, better or worse, in different for different purposes. So that has created certain sometimes certain challenges, and main two dimensions of the challenges are the motivation barriers and time available in the modern busy lifestyle. So my research and the case study attempted to address the barriers, these especially motivation barriers, to improve the regular physical activity as a self-care intervention, because there is also a growing number of evidence that with the rise of technology, rise of our screen times, rise of different easier access to entertainment and various forms of sedentary activities. There is also you know like lack of physical activity, which could basically give rise to a sedentary lifestyle, and then that results into certain conditions which could be easily prevented by changing the lifestyle. But of course that's always a challenge, because we are quite accustomed to lifestyle that we have, so it's always a challenge. And perhaps this is a new year, start of a new year, and we have a lot of new year resolutions in our mind. So perhaps this might be a reminder as well, if you want to try any new interventions to improve your lifestyle and thus reduce the burden. So uh, so I guess in case of physical activity, it's a global issue, and it's been identified as especially a sedentary lifestyle is a global health issue. And especially outdoor physical activity is proven to be a good lifestyle intervention for health issues all around the world. But now we have realized that in modern world, there has been a lot of reported or studies that we report barriers such as lack of time because we're simply too busy, or we are not, organized ourselves very well. There's a lack of enjoyment to experience the, outdoor physical activity, because we may not, find a way to enjoy outdoors, and also determining appropriate time to do certain physical activity, because sometimes our busy working life, especially in our cities, we have to catch the train, we have to, find that parking spot in the morning so that we can get ready and get to work at time, or we have some other, school drop off duties. So we are sort of, connected with the clock, and we run our life based on a clock. So that's also the reality of, modern life. And the other one is also the smartphones are increasingly used in outdoor physical activities. So there are a lot of apps, and there are, wearable devices, the trackers and everything. But sometimes it can also become overwhelming, because the utility of those, devices, may be good at a, at the initial level, but the value drops off, after certain period of time. And of course it requires cost, requires maintenance. So we have leveraged this all these, innovations, technology innovations, in smartphone technology and social media, uh, capabilities to evaluate the pictures, sunrise timing for this outdoor exercise motivation. So the first 3 points, basically we sort of suggested that there are these barriers. So what could be an option to address those barriers? And one of the option that we looked into as a part of this study and this initiative is to uh, identify, first of all, which time could be a good time for this outdoor physical activity, and how we can make this as a motivational tool to address some of the, challenges in physical activity. So to address this, then, as a result of all this, research, the question that we asked, that, can we turn to ancient Indian practice to address these motivational barriers in today's modern world? And some of you might be aware that in ancient Indian tradition, there is a concept or a practice called, Brahma Muhurta, so which is basically a time early in the morning, which is between, let's say, roughly, depending on where you are in the world, because sun rises everywhere in the world, or probably universe as well. Even on Mars as well there might be a sunrise. So but anyway, we haven't gone to Mars yet or moon yet, so probably we will leave it to that. But as far as back to the planet Earth, this tradition suggests that sometime between 3:30 to 6 a.m., this, the sunrise time, it sort of fluctuates depending upon the day of the year and the season. So wake up around 40 minutes, before the time of the sunrise, and that's a time of, it's more peaceful time, and that's where a lot of, creativity and your physiological processes, take place. I'm a technologist, so I may not be that expert in the physiological processes. I guess probably you are because you're medical doctors, but I'm just trying to point out some of the observations, so it's more of an observation. uh, so this time is probably more quieter and peaceful time, and that's where in ancient, times, this was suggested to use this time for doing some meditation, doing some yoga, so that your body and mind wakes up during this time, and then you start your day. And it also sometimes aligned with your circadian rhythm of your natural body clock, and that's been the case in the ancient, times. Now, of course, that time there was no artificial light, right? So, or there was a minimal artificial light. So for example, 500 years ago, there was no widespread use of electricity, or electric light, right? So this was a electric light or artificial light is a modern, phenomenon. Probably I would say modern, because it's just maybe 100 or let's say 200 years old, max. uh, but our bodies or our brain are not evolved or not designed to work as per the artificial light. So there's a bit of a conflict in our natural, the way nature has made us, and our interventions or our innovations. So we need to identify that. So then the question is how we can extend this ancient practice into modern technology enabled world for our lifestyle improvement. So because the time, the doesn't matter what technology you have, the sun will rise, right? There'll be morning, there'll be evening, there'll be night, right? So that won't change unless earth stops spinning around the sun now, or there is something else. So we can still be assured that the sun will rise for the next foreseeable future, because it's been doing that for what, million years. So probably it can also do that for the next million years. So there's a bit of a timeless quality of this intervention. So based on this, then what I sort of I'm proposing is an intervention called Rise and Smile. So it's basically just trying to give some positive vibes to the intervention than giving a very technical name, because intention is that it could be adopted at a community in a level. So it's, of course, is based on four different components. So first of all, the first major aspect of this intervention is to focus on your sleep. So basically, sleep early, as or you can say rest early and take sufficient rest or quality sleep, uh, and then wake up before the time of the sunrise. And so if your natural circadian rhythm falls into this category, that you're early bird, then try to prioritize your sleep, or I would say a good restful period, and then wake up before the time of the sunrise, uh, and then you know go outdoors, go for a walk, a morning walk. If you're a more active person, then go for a run or a bicycle ride or whatever, just to a nearby sunrise spot, and at the end of that exercise, maybe you want to use your phone to capture a sunrise photo on your smartphone. So you can see I have sort of put some of the photos there, which I had taken during my sunrise, walks and runs and different, experiments. And I can definitely tell that from my own experience, that watching a sunrise is a beautiful thing in the morning. And I'm sure some of you who have done that can relate to that. uh, and then share that for wonderful memories via social media, because I think most of the population these days, I would say at least office goers, or people who are using smartphones, they use social media, give or less 70-80% penetration is there, using different platforms. So I'm not recommending any particular platform, but we use Facebook or Meta for this particular initiative, and posted it on a page. And the platform also does its own things, like you have memories, and it generates memories for you, and that. So when you look at that after a certain period of time, you may feel nice, because it's a experience that you have gone through, and these are the positive memories that you can relate, and you can feel motivated again to wake up, do the same thing next day, or probably next weekend, whatever it suits you. So these are the basic four components of that rise and smile intervention. Now, as I said, that it's an ideation stage, but I did some sort of you can say scientific method or study with this, and so initially it was tried for consecutive 101 days, because there's a general saying that it takes about 100 days to change your behavior or habit, and mainly good lifestyle is a result of good habits. So this was conducted for about 101 days, and that's what is called Rise and Smile 101. So it was just an uh, uh, sort of practice where the motivation was up and down. So try this, put effort and perseverance for every day, and make that as a habit for approximately 15 minutes each day. and then each day the photo was captured and shared on the social media, and on a page also. And sometimes, the comments, the social media has its own, pros and cons. But if you look at the pros, sometimes if there are positive comments, you feel motivated. Of course, negative comments, feel very, very bad. But positive comments definitely, and that's what it attracts you again, because you want to see, how many, how many good things people are saying about you. Or of course, if people say something not nice, then you you hate that. But I guess let's make an assumption here that, you are feeling motivated by using this positive reinforcement capability of the social media platform. And then, the regular viewing of the photos was done as a reminder and motivate to wake up, early in the morning for the outdoor physical exercise. And then, findings were encouraging benefits. So the individual participant, self-reported, it was me, increased energy, better sleep, positive mindset, and increased productivity. As I said, that the social media comments were quite or positive comments, and or can say likes, or those features, they motivated the participant. Uh, so this motivation was used as a primary outcome measure, because ultimately any lifestyle change requires a good motivation and discipline to maintain that. Because you need to motivation is a feeling, whereas discipline is a continuous practice. So you need to have both working together in order to achieve that change. And these are, self-reported, of course, benefits, but they are measurable, and there's a degree of, confidence in that. uh, so there is a before and after sort of measurement, and as I said, that there's a bit of uh, scientific method was used to measure some of the qualitative, variables in terms of energy levels, motivation, before and after, and that was reported as improved. Like for example, I'm doing this for consecutively 5 years, and tomorrow I'm actually looking forward to see a sunrise wherever I'm in the world. So that I'm the proof here that it works for your motivation and the discipline as well. Uh, so uh, throughout this, exercise and initiative, I think some of the realization is that we are living in a very challenging times. I mean, probably that can be debated, but yes, there are some challenging times. We have seen the pandemic has shifted the world, upside down. There are geopolitical, issues. There are certain, practical, challenges as well in our life. So we need some sort of, a pleasant and I would say positive, because way, because or positive thinking, which is a overused term, but some sort of, nicer way to feel good about, feel good feel good about things, and also take on those challenges, because challenges are good, and we just need to have tools and mechanisms to address those challenges. And sunrise is a in my this study and realizations are simple experience, but with profound impact on our motivation, and thus provides us barriers to overcome our any limitations of the mindset. So it's a positive experience that brings a smile. Doesn't matter, what has happened in the day, in the previous day. After watching a sunrise, it just brings a smile, because that's where you're waking up, and again, it's good to wake up with a smile, and especially in the nature's company. So all this work has been also presented quite in a peer reviewed conferences and also scientific journals. So presented this work in lifestyle medicine conferences, uh, international health informatics conferences, global speaker showcase where I was invited, and also sports and wellness journals. uh, so this has been quite, interesting, experience, and also perhaps highlighted some of the underexplored research areas of circadian rhythms and lifestyle interventions for improved self-care and environmental care as well. So that area that needs to be researched a bit further, especially how our modern lifestyle, especially exposure to artificial light, has impacted our circadian rhythm. So we might be naturally early birds, but we have turned into nocturnals. Uh, then is that just a natural evolution of our cells, or is it just the influence of artificial light and our habits? That still needs to be researched in bit further. So in conclusion, I guess uh, the initial, as I said, that this is the initial findings, suggested that if you're asking the question, okay, what's a good time to do outdoor physical activity, then this, the hypothesis was sunrise time is a good time for doing a healthy physical activity and address those motivational barriers. So that self-care intervention can be used in a post-pandemic world, as there is a need for better self-care interventions, so that we can reduce the burden on the healthcare systems. Uh, and my sincere thanks once again to Shankara Netralaya and my collaborators, Dr. Sheila John here, the teleophthalmology team, and audience here in the auditorium as well as online for their support. Thanks to my online followers, my friends and families for their valuable support and insights. And yes, I have sort of troubled a few family for getting up very early, where everyone else is sleeping. I'm the only one who's making some noise early in the morning to go outdoors. But I think it's been worth so far, and I hope to continue that for potentially for life. So there has been some references that we also use. As I said, that it's uh, you know a systematic approach that's been taken to this. So any of your comments uh, and feedback is welcome. uh, you can email me, and and I'm also open for any further research collaborations, uh, or discuss this bit further. So thank you. And then of course in the next step is also there after this conclusion, is that interested in conducting a community trial where not just one but maybe a cohort of few volunteers could undertake this. And of course there are certain selection criteria that if you're a morning person, you like outdoors and nature, you like social and in-person chats during morning walk, so you're a kind of morning walk person. You like morning exercise, so there are some of the selection criteria. And if you have certain volunteers like that who are outdoor morning person and who are also a bit more users of digital technology, then we can definitely conduct this as a community trial, if you want to have that as a much more wider scientific evaluation of this lifestyle intervention. Or even if you want to do it without any trial, once in a year, of course you're welcome to do, because sunrise is yours to experience. I just observed it and I just simply communicated my experience, but sunrise is there for everyone, no matter where you are in the world, and you can enjoy that. But just I would suggest that this is not a getting up motivation. Uh, uh, it's also the motivation or prioritizing your sleep, because how well you wake up in the morning also relies on how well you sleep at night or how well you are rested. Because a well rested you know body can feel more active and more energetic in the morning. So we need to prioritize that, how we rest, how we take our rest every day. And especially in today's world, I think there is that sleep pandemic kind of issue as well, that we have experienced. And there's nothing wrong in sleep, it's just how you take it. It's about resting well. So there should not be any excuse for not resting well, and we should look into that holistically, from different angles. Uh, so I also would like to um thank Institute for Australia-India Engagement, where I am the Principal Program Director, Sports and Wellness, who has provided this opportunity to share my thoughts and research. And we are also Institute for Australia-India Engagement, or IAI, is also an institute where we look into improving bilateral relationship between India and Australia in different areas such as health, wellness, sports, policy research, international relationship, and different aspects of Australia and India communities. So please feel free to visit us as well at iai.org.au. And any questions, feedback, and common interests are most welcome. Thank you very much.